You're setting goals, running meetings, chasing deadlines, but somehow your team still isn't hitting targets. The problem isn't about effort. It's that most managers are missing one critical step that high performing teams use. The best teams don't work harder, they plan smarter. And here's the thing, most managers don't even realize that they're doing it wrong. In this video, you're going to find out how. You'll learn the fundamental mistake that's sabotaging your team's work, a practical framework that cuts through the chaos and keeps everyone on track, and how to create accountability without micromanaging or endless check-ins. A few weeks ago, I was going to a workshop in Milton Keynes and I was driving there. Now, I don't know if you know about Milton Keynes, but it's a town known for its roundabouts. There's millions of them. I wasn't in my normal car, so I was using my phone sat-nav as my guide. And I just stuck it with one of those sticky things onto the dashboard. And right as we hit this kind of complex double roundabout, it fell off the dashboard and shot into the footwell. And suddenly I was guessing my way through the traffic, hoping I was going in the right direction. It was stressful. I kept looking at the signs and trying to piece together in my head the route. Eventually I'd realized that I had gone the wrong way, so I had to double back on another roundabout and come back, wasting time and energy. Now, imagine 6 cars were following me, trusting that I knew the route. And that's exactly what happens when teams operate month by month, reacting to short-term events and without a clear plan. You might get there, but it will be slower, more stressful, and filled with wrong turns. And in business, those wrong turns cost you results. The quarter is a brilliant opportunity to pause and break that plan down to improve clarity, accountability, balance, and trust, to get your team on the same page and ensure that everyone is focused on what really matters. But most managers fail to do it. They don't find the time. But high-performing teams do something quite different. They follow a quarterly execution system that keeps them on track and ahead of their problems. You see, the quarter is the Goldilocks of planning. Annual plans, too big, your team loses focus. Weekly goals, too small, you're stuck in the weeds. But quarterly is just right. Big enough to be strategic and small enough to execute. This smart planning becomes a routine. In other words, it gives you a system to lead. And there are enormous benefits for you in this. It gives you a clear plan, so you're not constantly firefighting. Confidence that your team is working on the right things. Less stress because you know what's coming up, and there tend to be fewer late-minute surprises, more time to think about strategy instead of just managing tasks all the time, and accountability without chasing people because everyone knows what to do. So let me walk you through the 3 steps that will transform how your team performs. The first step is to create space for strategic thinking in the first place. So before you can align your team, you need clarity yourself. And most leaders skip this first step. They kind of keep their plan in their head. Why? Because they're too busy reacting instead of leading. But if you don't make time and space to think, who does? And you will always be playing catch up. So block off 2 to 3 hours in your calendar, maybe at home or a coffee shop, but away from the noise of the office, and ask yourself these 3 essential questions. Where are you right now as a team? What's working and what should you continue doing and what's holding you back? What are the most important things that you need to accomplish in the next 12 weeks to achieve your goals? Now, this is a critical moment to make those priority choices. Strategy is all about setting priorities and then ensuring everyone's energy goes there. And avoiding these choices means that, to be honest, your team just has a to-do list. And the third question to ask yourself is, what obstacles might be in your way and how might you overcome them? Now, this isn't just another planning exercise. It's giving yourself permission to think strategically. When you take this time, you will walk into your team meeting with a real confidence about where you're heading and why it matters. And the real strength of this step is that it transforms you from reactive to proactive. You're not just responding to what's in front of you, you're intentionally setting the direction. And your team will feel the difference immediately. Next, you need to do something most teams never do, a real team alignment meeting. Not another status update, but a working session where problems get solved before they happen. This meeting, ideally half a day, is where everyone will leave completely clear on three things: your priorities for the quarter, each person's specific role, and how you will work together to get there. And the mindset of this meeting is more problem solving and team building. Okay, here's my tried and trusted agenda that I used all the time in my corporate life. You want to start by reminding and reconnecting everyone with the bigger picture. You want to remind them why their work matters and how it fits into the organization's broader goals. Then remind them about what those big annual strategic goals are. Now, this isn't just motivational stuff. It's a context that helps people make better decisions in the day-to-day. And then you want to go on and celebrate what went well in the last quarter. Recognition is incredibly powerful, and acknowledging progress builds momentum. But don't stop there. You want to then involve the team in discussing what perhaps didn't work so well, and what has everyone learned, and what are the specific lessons that can make you even better as a team going forward. Then you want to get into the meat of the event, setting the quarterly goals. Now, focus just on your three main priorities, not everything you've got to do. We don't want 15. For each one of these, you want to get crystal clear on what success looks like. The key is to assign clear ownership, not just who's responsible, but who else needs to be involved, and map out those connections right there in the room. It really prevents those frustrating conversations further down the line when someone says, "Oh, I didn't know I needed to do that." You also need to think about those key cross-functional stakeholders you're going to need to engage with. Finally, talk openly about the potential challenges. What do you already know that will trip you up? What do you need to be especially vigilant of? Getting these out on the table now means fewer emergencies later, and everyone leaves really set up for success at a team level. However, here's the risk. The team meeting ends, everyone feels great, they're all aligned, and then nothing changes. You don't just want to set the goals, you need to really lock them in. Most managers think the meeting will be enough, but without the ongoing follow-up, priorities can slip, the goals fade into the background, and things don't get done. And that's why your one-on-ones become critical to both you and your team members' success. They ensure that problems get caught early, goals stay on track, and your team takes real ownership. Remember, it's their one-to-one, not yours. Your role is to be a guide, an unblocker, and a coach. But each week, ask two fundamental questions to cut through the noise and maintain that accountability. First, what's slipping off track? And this isn't about catching people out, it's about spotting issues when they're small and fixable. Make it safe for everyone to be honest here. Second, where do you need my help? Your most valuable role as a leader isn't doing the work, it's removing the roadblocks so your team can do their best work. These conversations transform accountability from something you have to force into something that just happens naturally. I'd always know it was working well when, before I could even get out, what do you want to focus on today in my one-to-ones, my team would launch into, this is my challenge and this is what I need help with. When people know they'll be discussing progress regularly, they come prepared with solutions and not excuses. And the real power of this approach is it makes those performance review discussions so much easier. Instead of trying to remember what happened 11 months ago, you've been having conversations and tracking progress and providing feedback along the way, so there's no surprises for anyone. By the way, I have a whole free one-on-one toolkit to help you make your one-to-ones the best that they can be, and there is a link below. Now, if this is your first time implementing this process, remember to explain to your team what's happening, why it's changing, and how it will help them do their best work. Be transparent about what it is you're trying to achieve. Now, don't just think about this, take action. We are right now at this precise point here in March at the end of a quarter. It's just coming up. Block out that time. And if you can't do 2 or 3 hours this quarter, at least 1 hour to help you work through and get clear for quarter 2. If you watch this video, you'll get clear on what you should consider as you plan the next quarter. And it will definitely take your leadership to the next level.